Hey everyone, Graham Stephan here. I'm thrilled to have you join me today. Whether you're a longtime subscriber or new to the channel, I want to extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you. This channel is all about empowering you with the knowledge and tools you need to make smart financial decisions and build lasting wealth. Welcome back to the channel. It's always great to see familiar faces and new ones alike. Today, we have a particularly exciting topic lined up that I know many of you have been eagerly waiting for. Today, we're diving into a topic that I get asked about all the time, the things wealthy people avoid to stay wealthy. It's a fascinating subject because it reveals a lot about the mindset and habits that contribute to long-term financial success. You see it all the time, right? People come into money and suddenly they're blowing it on things that seem flashy and exciting, but ultimately don't do much for their long-term financial health. It's easy to get caught up in the allure of luxury items and extravagant purchases, but these often come with hidden pitfalls. We're going to break down 20 of these assets that often look appealing but can actually be detrimental to your net worth. These are the kinds of investments that might seem like a good idea at first glance, but when you dig deeper, you find that they can drain your resources and hinder your financial growth. We're talking about things that might seem like good investments on the surface, but in reality, they often come with hidden costs, depreciate quickly, or just aren't worth the hassle. It's crucial to be aware of these factors so you can make informed decisions and avoid common financial traps. Over the next 20 chapters, I'm going to give you the inside scoop on why these assets might not be all they're cracked up to be, and I'll back it up with real-life examples and historical cases. We'll delve into the details and provide you with the evidence you need to understand the true impact of these investments. We'll look at everything from timeshares and collectible cars to high-end fashion and even exotic pets. Each of these categories has its own unique set of challenges and considerations that can affect your financial well-being. So, if you're ready to learn how to hold on to your wealth and build a solid financial future, buckle up because we're about to get started. This journey is going to be packed with valuable insights and practical advice that you can apply to your own financial strategy. Let's dive in and discover the secrets to maintaining and growing your wealth. Let's kick things off with something that sounds great in theory: owning a piece of a luxurious vacation property. Imagine having a guaranteed spot in a beautiful resort where you can escape the daily grind and unwind in paradise. The idea of having a home away from home where you can create lasting memories with your loved ones is undeniably appealing. It's no wonder that timeshares have captivated the imaginations of so many people. Timeshares have been marketed as a way to guarantee yourself amazing vacations year after year, but the reality is often far less glamorous. The glossy brochures and persuasive sales pitches paint a picture of endless relaxation and luxury, but once the initial excitement wears off, many owners find themselves facing a different story. The dream of a perfect getaway can quickly turn into a financial burden and a source of stress. You see those presentations, right? They promise you the world: spacious villas, pristine beaches, incredible amenities, and it's easy to get caught up in the excitement of it all. The salespeople are trained to create a sense of urgency, making you feel like you're missing out on an incredible opportunity if you don't act fast. They use high-pressure tactics and emotional appeals to convince you that a timeshare is the key to a lifetime of happiness and relaxation. But here's the thing: timeshares are notorious for their hidden fees and ever-increasing maintenance costs. What might seem like a reasonable annual fee at first can quickly escalate, leaving you with unexpected expenses that can strain your budget. These fees cover everything from property upkeep to administrative costs, and they can increase without much warning. It's not uncommon for owners to feel blindsided by the rising costs, which can make the dream of affordable vacations seem like a distant memory. You're essentially locked into a contract that requires you to pay annual fees, whether or not you actually use the property. This means that even if your circumstances change and you can't take a vacation one year, you're still on the hook for those fees. The inflexibility of timeshare contracts can be a major drawback, especially for those who value freedom and spontaneity in their travel plans. The commitment can feel like a ball and chain tying you down to a specific location and time frame, and these fees can go up significantly over time, eating into your vacation budget and potentially even putting a strain on your finances. What started as a seemingly affordable way to enjoy regular vacations can turn into a financial headache. The increasing costs can make it difficult to justify the expense, especially when you consider the other travel options available. Many owners find themselves questioning whether the benefits of a timeshare are worth the ongoing financial commitment. Plus, the resale value of timeshares is notoriously low. Unlike traditional real estate, timeshares don't appreciate in value. In fact, they often depreciate, making it challenging to recoup your investment if you decide to sell. The market for timeshares is saturated, and finding a buyer willing to pay a fair price can be an uphill battle. This lack of resale value can be a significant drawback for those who view their timeshare as an investment. It's like buying a new car. The moment you drive it off the lot, it loses a significant chunk of its value. The same principle applies to timeshares. The initial purchase price is often inflated, and once you sign on the dotted line, the value plummets. This depreciation can be disheartening for owners who hope to see their investment grow over time. Instead, they find themselves stuck with a property that's worth far less than what they paid for it. So, if you ever decide you don't want your timeshare anymore, good luck trying to get your money back. The resale market is flooded with owners looking to offload their timeshares, often at a fraction of the original price. This oversupply drives prices down, making it difficult to find a buyer willing to pay a reasonable amount. Many owners end up feeling trapped, unable to sell their timeshare and burdened by the ongoing costs. In many cases, people end up practically giving them away just to get out from under the ongoing costs. The relief of being free from the financial obligations can outweigh the disappointment of not recouping their investment. For some, the experience serves as a cautionary tale, highlighting the importance of thoroughly researching and understanding the long-term implications before committing to a timeshare. While the allure of timeshares is strong, it's crucial to weigh the pros and cons carefully to make an informed decision. Okay, so we've tackled timeshares, but what about owning a luxurious property outright? You know, the kind of place you see in magazines, sprawling estates, infinity pools, maybe even a private vineyard. While it's certainly tempting to imagine yourself living the high life, the reality of owning and maintaining a high-maintenance property can quickly turn your dream into a nightmare. First and foremost, these properties come with hefty price tags, and I'm not just talking about the initial purchase price. Property taxes alone can be astronomical, especially in desirable locations. And then there are the ongoing maintenance costs, landscaping, pool cleaning, repairs, security, the list goes on and on. These expenses can easily add up to tens of thousands of dollars per year, if not more. And let's not forget about the time commitment involved in maintaining a high-maintenance property. You're constantly dealing with contractors, landscapers, and other service providers. If you're someone who values their time and prefers a more hands-off approach, this can quickly become a major drain on your energy and resources. Alright, let's talk about collectible cars. These aren't just vehicles, they're pieces of history, rolling art, and for many a dream come true. The idea of owning a classic car is like holding a piece of the past in your hands, a tangible connection to a bygone era. Now, I get it. The allure of owning a piece of automotive history, a classic Ferrari, a vintage Porsche, it's tempting. These cars are not just modes of transportation, they are symbols of status, wealth, and a certain level of sophistication. They represent a time when cars were crafted with passion and precision, each one a masterpiece in its own right. It feels like stepping into a James Bond film, right? The wind in your hair, the roar of the engine, the envious glances from passers-by. It's a fantasy that many of us have entertained at one point or another. But there's more to this story than just the glamour and the glitz. But before you max out your credit card on that '67 Mustang, let's talk about why wealthy people often avoid these as investments. It's not just about the initial purchase price. It's about the long-term financial commitment that comes with owning a collectible car. First off, these cars are depreciating assets most of the time. Unlike real estate or stocks, which can appreciate in value, cars generally lose value as they age. Sure, there are exceptions, but they are few and far between. Most classic cars will not make you rich. In fact, they might do the opposite. Unless you've got a rare gem locked away in pristine condition, chances are your car is going to lose value over time. And keeping a car in pristine condition is no small feat. It requires constant care, attention, and of course money. Plus, the costs associated with owning a collectible car can be insane. We're not just talking about the purchase price here. There's a whole host of other expenses that come into play once you own one of these beauties. We're talking about specialized insurance, storage, maintenance, and let's not forget the potential for expensive repairs. These cars are not your everyday vehicles. They require special care and attention, which can add up to a significant amount of money over time. Remember that time when Jerry Seinfeld sold part of his Porsche collection? He made millions, right? But that's Jerry Seinfeld, a world-famous comedian with a specific passion and a dedicated team. For most of us, the reality is quite different. But that's Jerry Seinfeld, a world-famous comedian with a specific passion and a dedicated team. He has the resources to maintain and store these cars properly, and he has a platform to reach potential buyers. For the average person, it's a different ballgame altogether. For most people, it's more realistic to think about the ongoing costs and the hassle of finding buyers when you're ready to sell. Selling a classic car is not as simple as putting up a "for sale" sign. It requires finding the right buyer, someone who appreciates the car as much as you do, and is willing to pay what it's worth. And here's the thing, even if you do manage to sell your car for a profit, you've got to factor in all those hidden costs. The storage fees, the maintenance costs, the insurance premiums, and the potential repairs. All these expenses can eat into your profits, making that big return seem not so impressive after all. Suddenly, that big return might not seem so impressive after all. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of owning a classic car, but it's important to keep a level head and consider the financial implications. It's like flipping houses. Sure, you can make money, but you could also end up sinking a ton of cash into repairs and holding costs. The same goes for classic cars. They can be a money pit if you're not careful, draining your finances and leaving you with a car that's worth less than what you put into it. So before you dive headfirst into the world of collectible cars, take a moment to consider the costs and the potential pitfalls. It's a hobby that can bring a lot of joy, but it can also bring a lot of headaches. Make sure you're prepared for both. Penny stocks. They sound almost cute, right? Like harmless little pennies you find on the sidewalk. But don't let the name fool you. These stocks, often priced under $5, can be incredibly risky and are often a trap for inexperienced investors looking for a quick buck. You see those ads online promising to turn a few $100s into a small fortune overnight? Yeah, those are usually pushing penny stocks. The reality is, most penny stocks represent companies with shaky fundamentals, questionable business models, or are just plain pump and dump schemes. Think about it. If these companies were truly onto something groundbreaking, wouldn't they be listed on major exchanges and attracting serious investors? The truth is, the vast majority of penny stocks are illiquid, meaning it can be difficult to sell your shares when you want to, trapping you in a losing position. And here's another thing, the penny stock market is a breeding ground for manipulation. You've got these shady operators, sometimes even organized groups, artificially inflating the price of a stock to lure in unsuspecting investors. Then, when they've dumped their shares and made a killing, the price crashes, leaving you holding the bag. Art. It's beautiful, it's evocative, and it can be incredibly expensive. Now, I'm not here to critique art as a form of expression, but as an investment, that's where things get a little risky, even for the wealthy. You see, the art market is notoriously opaque. Unlike stocks or real estate, where you have data and metrics to analyze, the value of art is highly subjective and can fluctuate wildly based on trends, tastes, and even the whims of a select few collectors. Sure, you hear these stories about paintings selling for millions, even billions of dollars, but those are often outliers, the Picassos and Warhols of the world. For every masterpiece that appreciates in value, there are countless others gathering dust in storage, failing to attract buyers. And let's not forget the additional costs associated with owning high-value art. We're talking about insurance, security, climate-controlled storage, and even potential restoration costs. These expenses can eat into your returns faster than you can say abstract expressionism. Alright, let's talk about something that might seem obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people fall into this trap high-interest debt. I'm talking credit cards, payday loans, even some personal loans. These things are designed to keep you stuck in a cycle of owing money. Think about it, when you're paying 20%, 30%, sometimes even higher interest rates, your money isn't growing, it's vanishing. Every minimum payment you make is like throwing money into a pit. You're basically working for the credit card company. Wealthy people understand that leverage can be a powerful tool, but only when used correctly. They use debt strategically for investments that will yield a higher return than the interest they're paying. They don't let high-interest debt eat away at their hard-earned cash. Instead of racking up credit card debt, focus on building a solid financial foundation. Create a budget, track your spending, and build an emergency fund. Once you're in a position to invest, look for opportunities that will put your money to work for you, not against you. Now, I'm all for entrepreneurship. Starting and growing your own business can be incredibly rewarding, both financially and personally. But there's a big difference between investing in a solid business with a proven track record and pouring your money into an unproven startup. It's easy to get caught up in the hype. You hear about these overnight successes, people striking it rich with the next big app or tech gadget. But the reality is, the vast majority of startups fail. And when they do, early investors are often left with nothing but a pile of worthless stock certificates. Now, I'm not saying you should never invest in startups. If you have the risk tolerance and you truly believe in the company's vision and team, it can be a calculated gamble. But you need to understand that it's a high-risk, high-reward game. Gold, silver, platinum, these precious metals have long held a certain allure. They're seen as safe havens, hedges against inflation, and tangible assets with intrinsic value. But the truth is, their track record as investments is a bit more complicated than that. While it's true that gold, for example, has historically held its value during times of economic uncertainty, it doesn't generate any income. You're essentially betting on the price of gold going up, which, as we've seen in recent years, is not always a guarantee. Plus, let's not forget about the costs associated with owning precious metals. You've got storage fees, insurance, and the potential for theft to worry about. And when you do decide to sell, you might get hit with high commissions or find that the market price is lower than you expected. Vacation homes. They seem like a great idea, right? A place to escape to, maybe rent out for some passive income. I get it, the allure is definitely there. But before you jump headfirst into that money pit, let's break down why the wealthy often avoid them. First off, you've got to remember that a vacation home is just that. A home. That means all the same expenses come with it. We're talking property taxes, insurance, maintenance, and those pesky HOA fees that seem to always be going up. These costs can add up quickly, even if you're only using the property a few weeks out of the year. And let's not forget about the hidden costs. Traveling to and from your vacation home, furnishing and decorating it, and potential repairs or renovations. All these expenses can eat into any potential rental income and leave you with a hefty bill at the end of the year. Alright, let's talk about boats. Specifically why they're often called holes in the water you throw money into. I know, the open water, the wind in your hair, the feeling of freedom, it's tempting. But before you sign on the dotted line for that shiny new yacht, let's dive into why the financially savvy often steer clear. First and foremost, boats are notorious for depreciation. Unlike real estate, which can appreciate in value over time, Boats lose value the moment you sail them off the lot. Think about it. They're constantly exposed to the elements, require regular maintenance, and technology upgrades can make older models obsolete pretty quickly. And speaking of maintenance, let's be real, it's not cheap. From winterizing to engine upkeep, cleaning, and repairs, owning a boat can feel like you're constantly shelling out cash. And don't even get me started on dock fees, storage costs, and insurance. Look, I'm not saying you can't enjoy the boating life without being wealthy, but it's crucial to go into it with your eyes wide open. Understanding the true cost of ownership and the potential for depreciation is key to making a smart financial decision. Okay, let's talk about the ultimate status symbol, the private jet. Sure, it sounds glamorous, hopping on your own plane and jetting off to exotic destinations without the hassle of commercial travel. But let me tell you, the reality is a lot less glamorous, especially when you see the bills. First off, the upfront cost of buying a private jet is astronomical. We're talking millions, even tens of millions of dollars, depending on the size and model. And that's just the beginning. Then you've got ongoing expenses like hangar fees, which can cost as much as a mortgage payment depending on the location and size of your plane. And don't forget about insurance, which can be incredibly expensive for private aircraft. And we haven't even gotten to the operational costs yet. Fuel costs for private jets are sky high, pun intended, and maintenance is a whole other ballgame. Alright, let's talk about cryptocurrency. Now I know what you're thinking, Graham. Crypto made a lot of people rich. And you're right, it did. But for every Bitcoin millionaire, there are countless others who bought at the peak and saw their investments plummet. Remember, investing should be boring. You want steady, predictable growth, not the wild swings of a crypto roller coaster. Crypto markets are incredibly volatile. The price of Bitcoin, Ethereum, or any other coin can fluctuate wildly in a single day, let alone over weeks or months. This volatility makes it extremely difficult to time the market correctly and can lead to significant losses, especially for those who don't have a deep understanding of the technology and market forces at play. Let's be real, who doesn't love a little luxury? But when it comes to building wealth, high-end fashion is a slippery slope. Sure, that Gucci bag or Rolex watch might seem like a status symbol, but the truth is, most luxury items depreciate in value faster than you can say depreciation. Unlike real estate or stocks, which have the potential to appreciate over time, luxury goods lose their value the moment you buy them. That Birkin bag you just dropped 5 figures on? It might be worth half that tomorrow, especially if a new model comes out or if it gets even slightly used. Now let's talk about wine collections. I get it, there's a certain allure to having a cellar stocked with vintage Bordeaux and Burgundy. It seems like the epitome of sophistication and wealth. But let me tell you, wine as an investment is often more trouble than it's worth. First off, building a valuable wine collection requires a significant amount of upfront capital. We're not talking about a few $100 at the liquor store. Think tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to acquire those rare and sought-after bottles. Not exactly the most accessible investment for most people. Alright, let's talk about rare books, specifically first editions. Now I get it, holding a first edition of The Great Gatsby, or a signed copy of your favorite author's work sounds pretty cool. There's a certain allure to owning a piece of literary history. But here's the thing, folks, rare books are often touted as investments, but they come with a unique set of challenges. First off, the market for rare books is incredibly niche. Unlike stocks or real estate, it's not as liquid. Finding a buyer who's willing to pay top dollar for your prized possession can be like finding a needle in a haystack. And even if you do find a buyer, you're gonna need to get it appraised, which can be expensive. We're talking potentially thousands of dollars just to verify authenticity and condition. Okay, let's dive into a topic that might ruffle a few feathers. Exotic pets. Now, I'm an animal lover myself, but when it comes to owning exotic animals, things can get complicated and expensive really fast. First and foremost, exotic animals often require specialized care. We're talking about specific diets, unique habitats, and veterinary bills that'll make your head spin. Forget a quick trip to PetSmart for these guys. You're looking at finding specialized vets, often having to travel long distances, and paying a premium for their expertise. And let's talk about housing. A simple aquarium won't cut it for a Burmese python or a fennec fox. These animals need spacious enclosures that mimic their natural habitats. We're talking about temperature control, humidity regulation, and specialized lighting. It's basically like building a miniature zoo in your living room, and those costs add up quickly. Let's talk about bonds, specifically high-risk bonds, also known as junk bonds. Now, you know I love a good investment opportunity, but when it comes to high-risk bonds, I'm hitting the brakes. They might seem tempting with their promise of high yields, but trust me, there's a reason those yields are so high. High-risk bonds are issued by companies or governments with poor credit ratings. This means they're considered more likely to default on their debt payments. Think of it like lending money to a friend who has a history of not paying people back. Sure, they might promise to pay you back with interest, but are you really confident you'll see that money again? Alright folks, let's talk about timeshares. You know, those vacation properties you buy into with the promise of luxurious getaways every year. They sound amazing on paper, right? I mean, who wouldn't want a guaranteed slice of paradise for their vacations? The sales pitches are usually pretty convincing. They'll show you these glossy brochures with pictures of pristine beaches and sparkling pools, and tell you how much money you'll save on hotels in the long run. They'll even throw in some freebies, like a discounted cruise or a gift certificate to a fancy restaurant just to sweeten the deal. But here's the thing about timeshares. They're often more trouble than they're worth. The reality is, owning a timeshare comes with a whole host of hidden costs and restrictions that can really eat into your finances and flexibility. We're talking about things like annual maintenance fees, special assessments, and limited booking options. You see, that affordable annual fee can increase every year, and those special assessments can pop up out of nowhere, leaving you with a hefty bill you weren't expecting. Alright guys, let's talk about something we all love. Shiny new tech. That 8K TV with surround sound that makes you feel like you're in the movie, or the latest smartphone that practically runs your life. Tempting, right? But here's the thing about high-end electronics. They depreciate and they depreciate fast. Remember that $1,500 phone you just to have? Yeah, it's probably worth half that now just a few months later. It's like driving a brand new car off the lot. The second you do, it loses a good chunk of its value. Same goes for that top-of-the-line computer, camera, or gaming console. Technology moves so quickly that what's cutting edge today is practically obsolete tomorrow. You're constantly playing catch-up, pouring money into upgrades just to stay current. So, unless you're making money that tech like using a professional camera for your photography business, think twice before splurging on the most expensive gadgets. Alright, let's be real, who hasn't dreamt of cruising the open seas on their own private yacht? It's the ultimate symbol of luxury and success, right? But before you start picking out your captain's hat, let's talk about the reality of owning a yacht. First off, the initial purchase price is just the tip of the iceberg. We're talking hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars for even a moderately sized yacht. And that's before we even factor in the ongoing costs. Think about it. You've got docking fees, which can run you thousands per month depending on the size and location. Then there's insurance, maintenance, fuel costs, and we haven't even gotten to the crew yet. Yeah, unless you're planning on sailing that thing yourself, you're looking at hiring a captain, deckhands, maybe even a chef. It all adds up incredibly fast. We're talking potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars in annual upkeep. That's money that could be invested, growing your wealth, instead of literally being poured into the ocean. So there you have it, 20 assets that many wealthy people avoid to stay wealthy. Remember, building wealth isn't just about making money, it's about holding on to it and making it work for you. By being mindful of these potential financial traps, you can avoid unnecessary expenses and focus on investments that truly build long-term value. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more insightful content. Let us know in the comments which assets surprised you the most.